Hi everyone and welcome to 7 Minutes of Suffering. I mean another recipe video. And today I'm making this sourdough babka chock full of chocolate. Now this is more like 20 minutes of suffering in real time for me, but you guys get the benefit of seeing it all sped up, seeing my mistakes and seeing the final result where you too can create the perfect babka while avoiding the mistakes that I made. So without further ado, let's get started with the filling first. We're taking 75 grams of unsalted butter, adding 150 grams of caster sugar, 25 grams of cocoa powder and 75 grams of dark chocolate, although I used a few squares of milk because I didn't have enough dark, but that was fine. That's not what caused it to go wrong. This was actually quite delicious, so use whatever chocolate you like. And I'm just mixing it now over a low heat until it's all well combined. Don't turn the heat up too high because you will burn the chocolate, so just be patient and let it melt nice and slowly and keep stirring until it's smooth. Now we're just going to prepare our tin. This is a 2-pound loaf tin, and I'm going to brush some oil all around so the babka doesn't stick. And yes, that was a hair on the thing, which I didn't see until afterwards. And I'm just lining it with some non-stick baking paper. Now I'm taking 350 grams of bread flour, 70 grams of caster sugar, and then I'm going to add 150 grams of sourdough starter. And this needs to be bubbling and active. You need to have just fed it and it needs to be nice and bubbly. Now I'm adding 5 grams of salt just to bring out that flavour, and about a teaspoon of vanilla, and now I'm going to crack 2 eggs in. This is where I think I went wrong. The first 2 times I made this, I used small eggs. These are large eggs, and you'll see why this is a problem in a minute. Now I'm adding 100 millilitres of milk and 85 grams of softened unsalted butter, and I'm going to start stirring that. So I'm just stirring it until it's kind of coming together in a dough, and I'm going to transfer it out onto the counter and knead it. And you can see how I'm tentatively giving it a squish there because I'm thinking, this dough is a bit stickier than I remember it. And it is going to be very sticky, mind you. Even if you add 2 small eggs, it's going to be quite sticky. But the difference is it's going to come together a lot faster. And here you can see me working the dough and thinking, why isn't it coming together? It's so sticky and wet. And it is starting to become elastic here. As you can see, it's starting to pull up from the counter, which is a good sign, but it's still pretty darn sticky. So it's at this point I think maybe I need to add a bit more flour because there is too much liquid in here. So that's what I did. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of flour and see how it goes. But at least you can see the gluten is coming together quite well here. It is very stretchy and elastic. I'll just get whatever crumbs out from there. And in the end I did have to add 2 tablespoonfuls before it reached a nice dough that I could roll out and didn't stick too much. Here I am adding the second. And thankfully by this part it was much better, as you can see. So yes, egg size does matter in this recipe, but as you can see it's very easily resolved just by adding a bit more flour if the eggs are a bit on the big side. And this did take a full 20 minutes for me to knead to get to this kind of consistency, so you are going to need some elbow grease, or even better if you have a stand mixer and dough hooks, use that because then it's hands-free. But if you don't, then you are going to have to work for your babka. Right, now I'm ready to roll it out. I'm flouring my surfaces very well, and I'm rolling it out into a sort of rough rectangle. It doesn't have to be exact, and unfortunately my camera can't be set high enough, so you can't really see the full rectangle here. Apologies for that. Now that that's rolled out, I'm going to spread on evenly my chocolatey filling and try not to eat it by the spoonful because it is very tasty. Just spreading it nice and evenly all to the edges. And then all you need to do is roll this up into a big sausage. Now I'm going to carefully cut it down lengthways with a knife, like this, so that you're exposing the chocolate spirals on the inside. And then to make that classic babka shape, I'm going to braid it like a rope, twisting one side over the other, making sure that those chocolate sides are facing upwards. And I've just slowed down the footage a bit here so you can see exactly how I'm doing that. Don't worry if it's a bit too long for the loaf pan. You can very easily squish it together as you see me doing here. See? Squish. And I am very messy at the moment, but it can't be helped. It's all in the nature of making babka. Now I'm going to carefully lift that into the loaf tin, and as you can see I am in such a mess and I'm so tired now, but I'm going to proof that overnight and cover it with cling film. So this is the next day. I'm preheating the oven to 180 degrees C. And as you can see, my lovely babka has doubled in size and risen overnight, so I'm just going to take its cover off, admire my hard work and all the pains it took to get to this place, and pop her in the oven. I bake it for 50 minutes, but it's a good idea to cover it loosely with foil halfway through so the top doesn't burn. And once it's done baking, we're going to take it out of the oven and set it aside, but we're not quite done yet. Take 40 grams of caster sugar and add 40 milliliters of water, and we're going to boil it for 3 minutes to make a simple syrup. So make sure it's coming to a roiling boil here and then wait for 3 minutes. Then take it off the heat. Now we're going to brush all of that evenly over our babka, and that's going to help keep it nice and moist. Don't be shy, use all of that syrup, make sure you pour it liberally on, use all of it. And it helps make a nice glossy crunchy crust too. Once it's cool, we're going to make use of that non-stick baking paper and lift it out of the pan. And now it's time to slice up our babka and enjoy. And of course, just my luck, the very first slice didn't look particularly swirly, but it was, as you can see from other shots. And it stuck a bit to the paper, but no matter, I was able to remove that fine. And I was so pleased with the texture. Look at how soft and fluffy that is. And it was so deliciously buttery and chocolatey, so I was super pleased with it in the end. Thanks for watching and or listening. I hope you enjoyed today's video and found something in it useful, and I hope you'll join me next Wednesday as usual for my next one. Get full recipes for all of these videos on my blog tashcakes.com, and find me on Instagram as tashcakestastes. Subscribe and hit the notification bell if you'd like to see more. Comment down below if you'd like me to make anything in particular, and I'll see you guys later. Stay safe, be nice, and have a good week.